it will be a better way of actually us having this conversation, at least from where I come from and how we see it. If you look at chapter 3 of Things Fall Apart, Chinua Achebe's chapter 3 of Things Fall Apart, it says that the year that Okonkwo took 800 seed yams from Noakibe was the worst year in living memory. Nothing happened in its proper time. It was either too early or too late. It seemed as if the world had gone mad. The first rains were late, and when they came, they lasted only a brief moment. The drought continued for 8 market weeks, and the yams were killed. The yam had gone mad. The year had gone mad. When the rains finally returned, they fell as if it had never fallen before. Trees were uprooted and deep gorges appeared everywhere. That year, the harvest was sad. Like a funeral, and many farmers wept as they dug up the miserable and rotting yams. One man tied his cloth to a tree branch and hanged himself. Okonkwo remembered that tragic year with a cold shiver throughout the rest of his life. It always surprised him when he thought about it later that he did not sink under the load of despair. He knew he was a fierce fighter, but that year had been enough to break the heart of a lion. Since I survived that year, he always said, I will survive anything. That for me would be the easiest way of actually looking at 2024 as a Kenyan, leave alone as a person who works for the ruling party and the leader of society. Now, we must look at this year properly, that nothing sits where it's always sat, that the foundations of the nation were shaken, that it's easy to actually point out. But then as a nation, as we get to the end of the year, probably it's important for us to actually start talking to each other. What is happening is that we are busy talking at each other. We in government can actually come out and point out the things we've done right. And there are so many of them, by the way, that it will take you 2 shows, complete end to end, for us to actually just list them out. Enough. And then the people who are also putting us to oversight also have got enough, a list of the things that have actually not gone through. I actually say that this year, and going forward, is actually going to be a test to the communication industry in this country, to the people who call themselves media experts, the communication experts, to actually get this country to talk to each other and talk to itself. We are at a place where we actually need that. This one is a trying moment. So I need to say this, that having said that, it's important for me to actually underscore this fact, that we are not where we promised Kenyans we will be. This, even from where we sit, we know and we appreciate and acknowledge that as a regime, we are not and we have not delivered what we promised Kenyans. But in our defense, it's also important for us to point out this, that we've also not been sleeping on the job. That given the background against which we've actually worked, looking at how the year was, I'll tell you the year was mad. In the words of Okonkwo, I can actually tell you the year was mad. We also have done some work. So whereas we are not where we wanted to be, we are not where we used to be. And allow me to qualify that. That 4 or 5 years ago, economists and even very competent agencies, international agencies like the World Bank and so many other organizations expected that Kenya would burst and go bankrupt by mid-2023. It's out there. I even wrote articles 5 years ago to the same, that the way we were running the country, we would not survive past 2022. That we averted. It didn't happen just because rains fell.
Okay.
We worked on that. But then there are the promises that we put through. For the last 10 years, or for the last 2 years, the first year, we had the Azimio demonstrations going on throughout, and we could not work as effectively as we wanted. Of course, it's easy to actually say that a poor workman blames his tools. But the truth is that a country is not an individual, personal business where I will run it under my own conditions.